So, Call of Pripyat. Out of the three Stalker games, this is by far the least buggiest and most well designed for the vanilla unmodded version. I enjoyed Call of Pripyat almost as much as Shadow of Chernobyl, and the only thing I had to mod in this game was the flashlight strength. You know, basically how far the flashlight would shine, and I only had to do that so that it would make the Let's Play easier to see for people watching. But other than that, much better game overall than the other two without mods, and definitely better than Clear Sky no matter what. The story is better, not as good as Shadow of Chernobyl's. It does have a much more well thought out ending. You know, you kind of get to see what happens with people in the zone, and there's a better variety of weapons. The upgrade system is back and improved. The areas are changed a little bit, so instead of multiple small areas, there's just a few very large areas. Anomalies are back. They're not as scattered as before. They tend to be very concentrated, but that allows the designers to make for some awesome looking, you know, anomaly zones. You know, so you'll come across a, you know, twisted, hellish looking tree. It's like, well, crap, you know, you're gonna have to go check it out for artifacts. And it was a design choice I really did like. The A-life, the artificial life, they finally got it working right. You know, they don't really do the faction warfare stuff. Stalkers will shoot at bandits and that sort of thing, but they don't really do warfare. You know, they just see each other and they shoot each other. Stalkers, you know, basically all humans, if they kill somebody, if they get in a fight and they win, they will go loot the dead guys. Stalkers will go, you know, out and explore the zone on their own. And so you can come across a guy who's got a stack of weapons, and it's like, you know, what the hell was he doing? Because obviously he came across a bunch of dead guys. You know, the visuals are good. The engine's getting kind of old, but they do some nice stuff with it, especially as far as the lighting goes. The lighting in the Stalker games, you know, it looks really cool, the dynamic lighting, especially, you know, if you're out at night and there's a thunderstorm, you get so-called God rays. If you can crank it up a bit more, those look really cool, you know, at sunrise and sunset. One nice big improvement over Clear Sky is Call of Pripyat is much less linear than the previous game, than Clear Sky. You can step into the zone at the start of the game and poke around the first zone and do all sorts of, you know, exploring and find artifacts and all that sort of crap. And before you even step into the first Stalker populated area, have all sorts of neat stuff. Or you can go right from the start to there and just, you know, cut a swath through the story. And you're only hampered by a few spots that prevent you from moving on with the rest of the game. But it's part of the exploration, and it's way more interesting than it is aggravating. Big downside for this is the third zone is only lightly populated. There's not a lot of missions there, and the ending, like Clear Sky, is pretty abrupt, but it makes more sense. You know kinda what's going on. You know what the ending is pretty much coming up, and you know you get a nice cameo from Shadow of Chernobyl. And frankly, at the end, I was expecting another segment. You know, I was expecting another hour or two of gameplay. Sort of like at the end of Shadow of Chernobyl and even Clear Sky, where you've got a sort of ongoing firefight situation. I was expecting to revisit the Chernobyl nuclear power plant again. You don't. I was disappointed with that, but they make up for it by giving you a really neat, well thought out Fallout style ending sequence where they say, oh well, here's the good stuff you did that affected, you know, these guys well. You know, the bandits are down, the stalkers are doing better, this guy, you know, survived and thrived because of you, and that sort of thing. Overall, for the entire series, you know, clear sky at the bottom, Call of Pripyat in second, but pretty close to Shadow of Chernobyl. But Shadow of Chernobyl's got some pretty stellar mods for it, and overall, it just got a great feel to it. Call of Pripyat brings that feel back, but Shadow of Chernobyl just, you know, you're bathing in atmosphere. You just, depending on the mod, you can hate going outside in the dark because you never know what's waiting there. Even if you don't use mods, you don't want to go out at night because it's creepy as hell. And it's a spectacular series if you can put up with some of the shortcomings of the first couple of games. And it's got a great post-apocalyptic setting. You know, the world hasn't ended, but as far as the zone is concerned, it's the end of the world. It's been wrecked. It's, you know, a hellish radiation-soaked nightmare, and it's got filled with all sorts of mysteries, and you get to go and find most of them, and it's great. You know, most of the time you spend wondering if you're going to be able to survive getting to the next area. Are you going to get jumped by mutants or bandits or mercenaries or soldiers or an emission, you know? Or are you going to fall into a hole and get shredded by an anomaly you didn't see? You just never know. So needless to say, despite each game's shortcomings, I love the hell out of this series. And actually just saw something. The guys who made this series are actually planning to do a sequel, so there will be at least a fourth Stalker game. I'm excited about that. They're going to build a new engine for it, which is kind of a shame, but it's understandable because the X-ray engine, which they use for all three games, is getting pretty old. And I hope they learn their lessons and we get a totally stellar, incredible experience. You know, something that's a mix between Shadow of Chernobyl and Call of Pripyat, you know, without the bugs, but with plenty of places to look around and all the danger. So, until then, if you haven't played any of the Stalker games, give Shadow of Chernobyl a shot. If you don't want to give it a shot right now, keep an eye out, because it usually comes up on Steam sales for like $5. And it's an absolute steal. So that about wraps it up, and I will see you guys back at the Crisis Let's Play.